Marcos woke up early, as he did every day. The first rays of sunlight were barely touching the horizon, but he could already feel the cool breeze that marked the start of another serene morning. Calmly, he dressed and glanced over at Lau, his loyal dog, watching him with a wagging tail, ready for their daily walk. "Ready for another adventure, buddy?" Marcos asked with a laugh. Lau barked in response, jumping around as if he knew where they were headed. These walks were the highlight of each day for both of them. Surrounded by the silence of the forest and the calm of the hills, Marcos felt his worries and the loneliness he'd carried since his wife's passing begin to lift. Nature and Lau's company brought him a peace he couldn't find in the city. As they moved along the forest path, the branches crackled under Marcos's feet, and the scent of damp earth filled the air. Lau ran ahead, nose to the ground, curious and excited by every sound. When Marcos noticed Lau had wandered too far, he called out, "Lau, this way!" But to his surprise, Lau didn't respond. His dog stood frozen, ears perked, staring intently into the trees, focused on something hidden in the dense undergrowth. "What is it, boy?" Marcos whispered, moving closer. The forest, usually so comforting, felt strangely quiet, an unsettling silence hanging in the air. Lau remained motionless, his gaze fixed on an opening partially obscured by branches, a cave that Marcos had never noticed, despite passing through the forest countless times. A chill ran down his spine as he felt the tension in Lau, who let out a low growl. Crouching down, Marcos tried to calm him. "It's probably just an animal," he said softly, though Lau's unease didn't subside. Steeling himself, Marcos muttered, "All right, just a quick look." Heart pounding, he turned on his phone's flashlight, cutting through the darkness to reveal the cave's narrow walls, shaped over centuries. Lau hesitated but followed closely, his paws echoing off the rock walls. Each step forward felt heavier, as if the cave itself held secrets. Finally, after a sharp bend, Marcos caught sight of something unexpected. In the dim light, he saw a young woman with pale, tired eyes sitting on the cold floor of the cave, holding a sleeping baby wrapped in tattered blankets. Marcos froze, startled. "Are you all right?" he asked, gently, trying to sound as unthreatening as possible. The woman clutched the baby protectively, eyes full of fear and desperation, but said softly, "Please don't hurt us." Marcos raised a hand in reassurance. "It's okay, I'm not here to hurt you. I was just walking with my dog and noticed the cave." He introduced himself, explaining how he and Lau had stumbled upon her. Slowly, the young woman's expression softened, though her eyes still showed fear. Lau, sensing her distress, approached, sniffing cautiously before sitting beside her as if to offer comfort. "My name is Laura," she finally replied, glancing down at her sleeping baby. "And this is my daughter, Anna. We don't have anywhere else to go." Marcos's heart sank at the sight of the two of them in such a cold, damp place, and he could feel the exhaustion in Laura's voice. Laura went on to explain her story. She had lost her job, and without any family to turn to, she had lost her apartment as well. She'd tried to survive on the streets, but people either ignored her or saw her as a threat. When she discovered the cave, she thought it could shelter them from the cold. But as winter approached, she realized it was too cold, too dangerous for her baby. "You can't stay here," Marcos said firmly, looking around at the damp cave walls. "Especially not with a child. There has to be another option." Laura sighed, resigned. "I know, but shelters don't take in mothers with young children, and I don't know what else to do." Marcos felt a sense of responsibility settle over him. "We'll figure something out. I'll help you," he said, surprising himself with his own determination. Laura looked at him, visibly moved. "But how?" she murmured, hesitant to believe in his offer. "I'm not sure yet," he admitted, "but I can't leave you here." Promising to return with food and warm clothes, Marcos left, feeling the weight of his commitment. Over the next days, he came back regularly, each time bringing supplies, clothes, food, even small toys for Anna. With each visit, Laura's mistrust slowly gave way to relief and gratitude. One morning, Marcos arrived with news. "I've arranged an appointment with a social worker," he told her, "and she'll look into your situation." Laura was grateful, yet anxious. "What if they separate me from Anna?" she asked, clutching her daughter tightly. Marcos knelt beside her, his expression reassuring. "I won't let that happen. Trust me." In the weeks that followed, their bond deepened. Lau, too, grew attached to Laura and Anna, often staying close as if guarding them. Finally, after meetings, paperwork, and assessments, Laura received life-changing news. "I found a temporary shelter for you," Marcos said one day, his voice filled with emotion. Laura's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't need to," he replied warmly. "You and Anna deserve this." Months passed, and Laura's life transformed. She found a job at a local market, which brought a sense of stability. She and Anna moved into a cozy apartment where their laughter filled the air. One afternoon, as she tidied up, there was a knock on the door. She opened it to find Marcos holding a simple package tied with a blue ribbon. Curious, Laura unwrapped the package to reveal a small wooden sculpture of a cave, carefully carved with two tiny figures inside, a woman holding a baby. Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked at Marcos. The cave, once a place of despair, now symbolized hope and the friendship that had saved her and Anna. "Thank you, Marcos," she said, voice full of gratitude. He smiled gently. "The past isn't easy to face, but it's part of who we become," he replied. She nodded, holding the sculpture close to her heart, feeling the weight of what they'd overcome. In that moment, with Lau by their side and the golden light of the setting sun filling the room, they shared a silence of deep understanding and gratitude. The cave, which had once been a refuge from fear, had become a symbol of new beginnings, a legacy of friendship and compassion shared between Marcos, Laura, and little Anna. If you enjoyed this story of kindness and new beginnings, please like, share, and subscribe to support more stories like this. Thank you for being part of our journey.